Hi, and welcome to this tutorial on interview skills. Today we're going to focus on a competency-based question. So a question which allows you to use your skills to demonstrate an example. And that particular question we're going to focus on is how do you manage difficult customers? When you have a question such as this, what you want to be able to do is use a simple method. In other tutorials we've spoken about this before, and the method that we're going to use today is the same as usual, which is basically CAR. And the C basically means the context. It's where were you, what were you doing, who were you with. What this is doing is giving the interviewer a bit of a flavour. You're painting the picture, you're painting the scenario of where you are, what you were doing, what was the situation. The A is action. So what was the particular action that you took to overcome the problem or overcome the challenge? And as we've spoken before, the R is the result. So what happened as a result of you taking the action? So was it a positive outcome, which is basically what the interviewing panel are looking for. So what was the positive outcome? So R equals result. It's a question that's common in all sales and customer service job specs and interviews. So it is, a crucial and common question. How you answer this successfully is by providing an example. And I'm going to give you an example of how I would answer it. And again, it's just split into those three different parts. I currently work for a mobile phone company, a national organisation dealing with both retail and business customers. Quite recently, I've dealt with a business customer who came into the store who couldn't use his mobile phone abroad. The main challenge was his mobile was a crucial tool for business. With over 20 to 30 employees, countless customers around the world, he did lose a significant amount of business while he was away for 2.5 weeks. The problem was, as I say, he'd been promised that he could be able to use it, so he was very irate and wanted to leave the network and obviously wanted a refund as well. The action that I took was to invite the customer in with his partner, to sit them down, to get them a drink. The second thing that I did was I took a notepad and pen and I asked a series of questions. One of the things that I wanted to do was to get to the bottom and get all the information that I could to be able to go back to the network and make sure that we solved the problem. In fact, the first thing that I said to the customer was, "You're not going to leave until I've solved this problem satisfactorily." As soon as I said that, the customer could see that I was in control and that I was going to solve this problem. I took all the evidence, so all the notes that I'd taken, listening intently to the customer. I went back to the network with all the evidence to argue the case, to convince, to influence and persuade the people on the telephone that we had a good customer, that it was not a mistake by him or his partner, and that we needed to rectify this. The result of listening to the customer, the result of gaining the evidence, the result of taking the notes was I was able to save that customer. He didn't leave the network. We got the refund, and more importantly, he remained a customer. He spent £3,000 a year, but not only did we save him, his partner that was with him was so impressed by the service that he took a phone out with our network as well. So we saved a customer, but we also gained another one. The original customer was really impressed with the service, so much so that he actually wrote a letter into my manager, and I have that letter here today. So I hope what this example shows is I have a commitment to customer service, I have a commitment to solving problems, and I won't let it go until I've solved the problem satisfactorily. And I'd say that is my attitude to managing a difficult customer. So there we have it. That's a sample answer of how to answer that particular question. How would you manage a difficult customer? So you can see that we're splitting it into three. So C is the car, which basically means where were you, what you were doing, what was the challenge. So in this particular example, we're in a mobile phone shop. We're working with a business customer who basically can't use his phone, can't get in contact with his customers, is very, very irate. So there you have, there's the situation, there's the challenging customer. The A is the action. So what particular action did you take? So in this example, we got a notepad. We got them sat down with a drink. We listened to the challenges. We got the evidence together. And we also said, you're not leaving until I've solved this problem. So there's the action that you took. The secondary action that was taken as well was to gather that information and to influence and persuade the person on the telephone to make sure that this customer got a refund. The R, the result, again was quite clear. So we've saved a customer and we've gained another one, which again is a really impressive example. So not only have I saved a customer, I've gained one, and I've also got a letter giving compliments basically about my service, and here it is in front of you to be able to see. So it's a very, very powerful answer. Now, many of you listening to this might think, well, I have never had a letter before. I've never been in that particular kind of situation. But use your experience. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a letter. It doesn't matter if you didn't get an extra customer. The key thing is what's your approach to managing difficult customers, and what the interviewer is looking for is a positive approach. So, for example, if you have had a difficult customer and you've solved the problem, that's good enough. But if you have got more examples where you have saved or you have gained or you have got a letter, then that's great as well. Now, there may be some of you even listening who have never had a customer service or sales job before. Now, if you get asked this question at interview, don't turn around and say that you've had no experience. For example, on your CV, the employer will probably know this. I say this is particularly for young people going for a job, but just don't turn around and say, I haven't got any experience, I've never managed a difficult customer before. How to approach the question is to say, well, I haven't managed a customer before, but this is how I would approach it. So, for example, I would sit them down, I would listen to them, I would take notes, I would go and investigate, I'd go and solve the problem. The result that I would expect to have is that that person walks away happy, that that person walks away that and would recommend a friend or would come back for a repeat business. So don't just say that you haven't got the experience. Think about how you would like to be treated as a customer, and that's a good way to answer the question if you have absolutely zero experience. Okay, just don't say at the interview, I haven't got it, or I wouldn't know what to do. Think about how you would like to be managed as a customer. So there you have it. There's a really good example there to use. I say don't worry about the letters if you haven't got any, or that you haven't saved or gained a customer. The key thing is what is your approach? How do you approach difficult customers, and what is the result that you either can prove or you would expect to achieve? So I hope that makes sense. Again, the key thing is examples. The key things are evidence. So make sure that you think of examples from the past. So all the best with your interview skills coming up, or interview coming up for the job. And I say best of luck to you.